Pregame.com.
Tuesday night, SEC action, number 1 ranked Kentucky travels to Mississippi State. It's on ESPN. I'm Marco D'Angelo. I'm here with Brian Leonard. We're going to break this one down. Brian, SEC, Kentucky's been fantastic. We're taping on Monday. It's a Tuesday night game. We're projecting the line. We actually agreed on this one. We both have Kentucky an 8-point road favorite. And on paper, it's kind of hard not to like Kentucky. I mean, they're doing everything right. They're 26-1. Not only are they winning, obviously, they're covering too. They're 6-1 against the spread the last 7 games, and the only non-cover was Saturday. They were laying 21 points. They win by 15. So it's kind of hard to pick a spot to step in front of them. Tell me, is there any reason we should here? I've got my thoughts. We'll see what you say.
I don't have a major thought on this game. I
thought you were going to say you didn't have a major thought, period.
Isn't that obvious by now? I actually, personally, I bet Mississippi in that game, so I did step in front of the train, but it was just too high of a number. But Mississippi State's done very well against top 50 teams, 3-2 straight up. State's lost their last 3 games at home, 2 of them in overtime. This is an interesting game just from a viewing perspective, as you have 2 of the tallest teams in college basketball. Kentucky is great defending inside, and that's the strength of Mississippi State. So if Mississippi State can have some success, I think they can stick in this game. If they fail to score inside, they don't shoot well enough from the outside to put up the numbers. And, you know, defensively, Mississippi State's not that very good defensively, so Kentucky's going to get theirs.
They are. I'm looking at this game, and it's tough to step in front of a team like this, but I just can't take Kentucky on the road in this spot. They're undefeated in a conference, and it is so hard to finish a year undefeated in a conference, especially a power conference like the SEC. I mean, obviously, Kentucky's clearly the best team in that conference. But, you know, when you get to the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th teams in here, they're pretty good basketball teams. And to have that whole season and make it through, I think sometimes is a detriment to these teams, because it's almost like you spend too much energy, you know, trying to have that perfect season in the conference, that it takes something out of you when you get to the conference tournament, and then obviously, you know, the bigger tournament, the NCAA, and something we'll talk about in the conference tournament and some of these big power conferences. You've said it before, and I agree with it 100%. It almost, you know, behooves these teams to make an early exit in the conference.
I can see this happening already with Kentucky. I think they do try to go undefeated in the conference, get to the conference, maybe play 1 good game, tank it, and get some extra rest. Yeah,
it's grueling. And in the other conference that comes to mind, which is a conference near and dear to my heart for one more year, it's the Big East Conference. But, you know, that's a grueling, you know, if you play like the play-in round the first day, you're playing from, you know, Thursday through Sunday or through Saturday night. It's grueling on a team. Actually, they play on Wednesday. I'll back that up. So you go from Wednesday to Saturday if you make it to the championship game and played the first night. It's tough. Then you get into the NCAA, you're spent.
Well, that didn't happen in Connecticut last year.
It did not happen to Connecticut last year.
I got to give the one example.
Yeah, the one
to mess with
you like to mess with me. You do. Yes, Connecticut did do that. It might have helped that they played a Butler team in the championship game that couldn't shoot the ball in the ocean.
Connecticut wasn't very good at that either. So.
Yeah, that was pretty pitiful. Going back to this game, I think a Tuesday night game on TV, you got the number 1 team coming in. We know how jacked up teams get for these TV games at home. Mississippi State is not an elite team of the SEC, so this is still a big, you know, for them to be on TV is more of a deal for them than it is for Kentucky. Kentucky's on almost every game they're on TV. So it's going to be an electrified crowd there. We saw Saturday night a game. Now, they ended up losing, but boy, did they give it a go. Villanova against Notre Dame on Saturday. There was one of those, and we had talked about, you know, the differences of Saturday games and whether it's a day game or a night game. Villanova played a very untypical night game on Saturday. Not only was it a night game, but it wasn't like your normal 7 o'clock start or 7:30. It was all the way pushed back to 9 o'clock because of ESPN. It was a frenzied crowd on Saturday night, and they led Notre Dame almost the entire ball game, and then they ended up going into overtime. And you've seen that movie too many times when you have an underdog and you lead the whole way and you go into overtime and then you lose by 4, getting 2.5. Yep. We've seen that movie too many times. Yep. But I think you're going to have that kind of crowd here with Mississippi State. I'm going to take Mississippi State. You did mention they lost a couple games at home recently, but this team's been good throughout the year at home. Most of their troubles have come on the road. They've been a strong home team. I'm going to have them. I think Kentucky will get out of here with a win, but I think it's going to be a dogfight. I have it like a 1 to 3 point game, go down to the wire. I'm going to take Mississippi State plus the points.
If you go back the last 6 times they played, Mississippi State's won 3 of them. The bad news is it was the first 3, not the last 3. So Kentucky had those couple of years where they were a little bit lean, but now they're back again. And I can't argue it. I don't want to play a large road favorite in this situation. As I said, Mississippi State's 3-2 against the top 50 this year, so they played pretty well in these type of games.
We always talk about, and I know the listeners get tired of us listening about value, but it is all about value. You don't want to overpay. I mean, think in your everyday life. You're not going to go to the store and pay $15 for something that you can buy for $12, right? With this game with Kentucky, one, you're always going to pay a premium for the name Kentucky. It doesn't matter what their record is, you're going to pay a premium. This is one of those teams. 2, they're the number 1 team in the country. So you're going to pay a premium because they're the number 1 team in the country. Make it the trifecta. It's on TV. Vegas knows which way the money's going to come because it's a televised game. There's value all over here. I mean, they are going to be overpriced.
I just wanted to point out, since we're talking about Kentucky, they had that terrible against the spread losing streak earlier in the season, yet they continued to win their games. The national media didn't pay it any attention. Hey, Kentucky, if you win by 1, you're still a top-ranked team. And in here in Vegas, and there was hardly mention, there's a couple of handicappers I know that talked about it, but they were horrendous against the spread earlier in the year, and yet nobody's talking about it. So it just goes, as long as you win the game. I mean, if they lose, it's one thing. I mean, you see a headline, New Mexico beats UNLV the other day. Upset, New Mexico upset. No, they were a 5-point underdog. So there was no upset situation there.
I agree with you. I got Mississippi State. That's our first play here. Brian's on the fence, but sounds like you really don't totally disagree with me.
No, I've got nothing on this one.
You got nothing. We're going to go with a regular play, Mississippi State plus the points. Look for a close one on Tuesday night. We're going to be back. Wednesday videos, we're going to look at a couple games. We've got a college basketball game and an NBA. Stay tuned and carry on the conversation. Go to pregamevideos.com. We'll have our show notes. You can ask us any questions in there. You can tell us you like our plays or you think we're nuts, and that's fine too. Check it out. We'll be right back.